I think that the Earth1st program has changed the way we operate in the sense that it's provided us it provided me especially a much greater awareness of the natural environment that we work and we operate in.
The way I compare it to is lean thinking, or like the lean way of thinking. Like we're always constantly trying to eliminate process steps, using less energy, less water, less resources.
I think the Earth1st program enables people to understand the higher meaning of the environmental program.
If the mandate is to have our business affect an improvement in environment, but also in society, when you get your employees engaged, they talk about it with their friends, they talk about it with their family, they make changes in their home, their friends see that, they make changes, and it's a ripple effect. It really can affect society in the grand scheme of things.
I think it's made us a lot more efficient company. I think we're more sustainable than we were in the past. I think that's a big part of what we've done in the last little while here.
It has broadened our awareness of our impacts on the environment and how our industries impact our environment as well as our local communities.
And I think a great thing that's happened too is all the other companies outside of us here see what we're doing, and they're picking up on it.
We think about what we're doing more now than we have in the past.
Every day is a challenge for us because we're thinking about Earth1st all the time. As soon as I get up, thinking weather-wise, what do we got? We got rain conditions. If we got a lot of water coming in, do we have to pump today? Minimizing pumping today. If we're blasting today, what are we doing today as far as blasting? Contacting neighbors and all that other stuff. So it's a daily. Every time we're doing something, it's a daily thought all the time.
We're purchasing more fuel-efficient equipment. We're updating the equipment if it's not more fuel-efficient. We're monitoring our wastes more closely. Recycling's a much larger thing.
It has brought total awareness to individuals that may have not been aware before the impact that we as an organization has on the environment.
I think the Earth1st program has provided a structure for which the company can look after environmental issues, and also created a brand that is easily recognizable by all employees.
Every business decision we make is heavily scrutinized by the environmental department to make sure the impacts are minimal. And I think it's also a smart way to run the business.
I think the Earth1st program has made the environment front and center for our business at Walker. Basically, anyone and everyone in the organization thinks of the environment and everything they do.
It seems as though people just live and breathe it. It's top of mind for everybody around here, and I'm not 100% sure if that was the case before, but I see it all the time here. People are always picking stuff up or doing things that I say the environment. They're thinking about the environment and how we're impacting the environment. So for Walker Industries specifically, being, very harsh on the environment with the industry that we're in, taking stuff out of the ground, putting stuff back into the ground, I would say that Earth1st has had a huge impact on what we do here and how we do it.
I think even more importantly is the program has really spawned, I think, a lot of other programs within the company. I mean, we have a lot of great programs, the health and safety program, our values program, the social events that the company commits to. And I think the Earth1st has helped not only develop the environmental programs in this company, but really transferred how we think about a lot of things, or changed how we think about a lot of things within this company.
I also think that it's been a catalyst for change and driving us towards greater long-term sustainability thinking. I think it's made us more responsible and accountable.
It's made all of us think before we make decisions.
It's no longer enough to continue to operate the way we always have done.
So the difference is, I think they really think about it before they consider what they're doing moving forward.
We wanted a clear, concise, positive message that would touch people's hearts so they would embrace change and actually become the change. And become empowered to take action. So for me, an acronym is really important. And a good acronym will simplify the message. It will be really easy to remember. And a good one will also create a much deeper meaning. So for me, connecting people to being part of the environment is the most important message. Because if people don't get that, they don't get the power the connection, and that understanding our connection to nature and connection to the earth and what we do to the environment, we do to ourselves, is the key to moving anything forward when it comes to the environment. I came up with acknowledge our part as hey, that's something I want to make sure all employees understand, that we have to acknowledge that we as a company and we as individuals are part of the environment. And I thought, okay, what else? What else is important? And thought about what these other companies were doing, and it was efficiently operating. So they were looking at ways of operating by looking to nature as their guide. So creating cycles, looking for value in waste. So waste for one organism is food for another. So how can we build those relationships? And we'd already started to do that with our landfill gas utilization program, taking the waste gas and looking for other ways of using it. And so I had, these two letters, an A and an E, and then I thought, well, what else is there? And I looked at, okay, what has been my challenge in the company? And one, from the moment I started, realized the company is very fast-paced, very entrepreneurial. When people get ideas, they just run with it. And sometimes they run so far and so fast that I would have to pull them back and say, hey, there's rules that you have to follow. You have to think about the environment for my own benefit. It would be good if people took time to plan. So that's where the T came from, take time to plan. And so then I'm looking at those letters that says eat. So I had some food, and as I was eating, I thought of, eat's not a good acronym. And again, I thought to the environmental laws, which are important, and they ask us to reduce our impact. And so there's an R, reduce our impact. And then there was ERT. And then that was really easy to then go, oh, that's almost Earth. So there's an H, I had to fill an H. So what possibly could an H be? And I thought about, the continual improvement thing. And that is a really important aspect of environmental programs, is to have a system of continually improving. That's where higher environmental performance came. And prior to Earth1st, our department was called the Environmental Compliance Department, which has a very negative connotation. And when I saw, higher environmental performance as the H, I realized that to really transform people's perception of who we are as a department, we need to change the name of the department. So now we have an acronym EARTH, which it's a nice acronym, but it doesn't say anything. There's no real action with it, and no real message. So how could you make this into a message? And then I started to think about, the standard you see on the backs of so many trucks, safety first. So I put the first there, and so it became Earth1st, and it has a nice ring to it. It has an action, and it encourages people to think about the environment, just in its name. And the first became innovation and leadership, because really, as a company, we've always prided ourselves in being the leader and being leaders in our industry. So that's where the first came from. Then it was just a matter of rolling the program out, and we did that by training each employee from the board of directors on down. And once people had the training, ideas just started to flow, and some of them were little ideas, but when you take all those little ideas and add them together, they can have a big impact. And we just started to celebrate every success. So we shared that knowledge, and it just took off. And it took off because our employees got involved and really it's become their program. It's become a way of life here that isn't only a way of life at work, it's a way of life at home as well. And I'm still amazed.
I believe the biggest impact Earth1st has is just in the culture of Walkers and how it's ingrained in every employee that works for Walker.
I think it's changed the outlook of every individual, both at work and at home, to have a higher level of respect for our neighbors and our adverse effects on them and for nature in general.
The impact is not only within the organization, but I think the impact between our neighbors, our vendors, our customers.
Everything you do, you think about what and how we're affecting the world that we live in.
The program has instilled a culture into our organization, and cultures are difficult to create, let alone change. So to be able to have people buy into the environment actually matters, and then make it part of your operations and process and even procedures is quite remarkable.
One of the reasons that this is successful is that the Earth1st principles are embedded all the way from the top all the way down. So ownership is in complete support of sustainability principles. The board is in complete support. And that's not just because they know it's good for the business, but because it's just the way that we feel. And I think one of the things that we've been trying to do as a board and as an ownership group is to raise our game to bring that into our decision-making process. So sort of call our bluff on it. If this is something that we feel is important about the business, then we need to make decisions based upon those criteria.
Earth1st takes it beyond the paperwork and the legislation and makes it, real time, and it brings it to the operations level and gives you an understanding of what you're doing and what the effects are in the environment when you do them.
It has really increased the value that I place on the natural environment. And by that I mean, I've really recognized that the ability for the environment, the air and the water, its ability to, absorb the impact from our operations and the way we go about our lives it's not infinite and it's not free.
Well, at one time it was just throwing, a water bottle in the blue box or a pop can. But when you go to our transfer station and you see mountains of recyclables every day on a daily basis coming in, that's quite the diversion of the landfill. And then it really sinks at home and said, holy mackerel, this is just us. And people are doing this all over Canada and around the world.
I think the biggest impact of the program has been the acceptance of the program by our employees and the adoption into their lives and into the lives of their families.
It goes into all of our day-to-day businesses, how we plan our decision making, and ultimately it becomes a measure of success.
We're all champions. Everybody takes a role in it, and it's not just one or two people trying to put it out there. Everybody does it, both at work and at home.
We've completely shifted the culture here at Walker Industries, and now the environment and our impact on the environment is always top of mind.
People need to realize that this is the way that we operate, and it's just not for show.
My behavior at home has been changed by the Earth1st program, mainly by thinking before I purchase things, cleaners mainly. Greenworks is a great one. Washers and dryers.
Lights are always off. Recycling is a big thing in my home now. And my children are well aware of the impacts that we have on our environment.
My wife and I, we do simple things like blue box recycling, composting, but now we've taken it a little bit further into evaluating our purchases of appliances, so energy efficient appliances. We just painted our house. We looked at paints with 0 VOCs. So although small, hopefully makes a greater impact for the future. Now that I'm a father, I want to make sure that I can at least help contribute to a healthier and greener world for my kids.
Our behavior at home was, just pile the garbage up at the curbside and let somebody else worry about it. But now we've sort of taken a different approach. We went from 3 to 4 bags of garbage down to, I would say, maybe half a bag of garbage and a lot of recycling.
I try and be as earth-friendly as I possibly can. Recycling
doing all that kind of thing, turning off all the lights. It's good for the environment, it's good for your bills and paychecks too.
If I were to run my car every day, I would be using about $15. Add that up during a week, add it up during a month or a year. You're saving that. I ride my bike to work. My kids are doing the same thing. They've all got their licenses, but they're doing the same thing. They're all riding their bikes.
When we go away, we turn off our hot water. The lights are down now that all the kids are gone.
The Earth1st program, to me, does not end at the end of the workday. The cultures and the values that the program has taught me go home with me. And those values, I can communicate those values, I can share those values with family, friends, and neighbors.
Well, at home, outside of Walker's, my son and myself, we operate a farm business. And we look at different things at home, like I do have an environmental farm plan on. And we look at such things as chemical spray. When we use it, we analyze, does the yield offset the cost of the spray? So the loss of yield, sometimes we choose not to spray, so that's a big improvement. Obviously, we've done the same things for just generally around the farm, as to what we bring in, what products we bring in, environmentally friendly products versus traditional style products that are not so friendly with our environment.
Earth1st is really good about letting everybody know about certain provincial incentives that are out there that you can utilize that will help you to reduce your impact, save on energy costs.
I bought my house 6 years ago, and my house was 11 or 12 years old at the time. And I had an oil furnace, which I really didn't like. It was very ineffective, and a lot of power being used to run my oil furnace. And so I switched it to energy efficient gas furnace, and I cut my cost down by $1,500 a year.
I think my next move is to put sensors in the rooms so that they automatically shut off instead of having the children run back to the room and shut the light off all the time.
We've done quite a bit at home. Whether I've been fortunate enough to take old broken fence posts from the property and having them welded up and making clotheslines in the backyard so we don't have to use the dryer, or recently I'm using 1,000-liter tote to collect all my rainwater to provide for my garden, which actually we've turned over a new garden this year and turned basically a dead clay soil into a healthy living environment, and it's thriving at this point in time, which is awesome.
We're more cognizant of the fact now that the earth is something that we want to save, and now we brought it to the house, and I think my kids and my family and the rest of my friends have benefited from the fact that we've had a little bit of conversations about this thing and what we've done at work, and hopefully they brought that home to their homes as well to help the environment.
In my home, we just eat organic food. We recycle compost. I have my own backyard garden, and that really, my kids, I have a 4 and a 7-year-old, and they appreciate the value of growing food and eating it without the chemical aspect.
I don't think that I was harsh on the environment before, but I think that I'm just a lot more conscious about it now. I think about turning off lights, turning off the taps when I'm brushing my teeth or doing dishes, stuff like that. Always picking up litter around my neighborhood. My roommate thinks that that's kind of disgusting sometimes when we're walking home from wherever in the neighborhood and I go to grab something and take it and throw it out, but I can't stand, the community being disgusting like that, and I think no one else is going to do it, so why not step up and take the play, and I find that that's very prominent. It's a prominent attitude here at Walker Industries, is that, well, why not just do it yourself? Kind of like our safety. We take ownership on that. We take ownership on our Earth1st, that type of stuff.
It's not enough anymore to just to turn off lights and change your light bulbs and to know what goes in which blue or green or brown box. It's much more than that, and I think the Earth1st program has really shone this light to make us change how we think about what we're doing at home. I take into account the principles of Earth1st when I'm making purchases. Does this product use less packaging than the other? Is the packaging recyclable, compostable? And then do I need this product at all?
I think a lot of people automatically assume that when you put something up to your curb or flush it down your toilet, it's gone. But definitely working at Walker's has made me realize that there's a whole world to the other side of that. And I think it's important to share that story with people and how companies like ours are managing that and managing it well.
As long as we keep things tidy around our own houses, we're going to have a pretty good Earth to live on.
We rent this Earth. We're just put on this Earth for a little while. And you know what? We need to preserve it and do as much as we can so that in future generations, this Earth is here for our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and beyond.
At the end of the day, yes, this is a business, but if you look at this multi-generational business that's been around since the 1800s, it's around for what I think is really one reason, and that's that everyone has looked at this as their legacy. In other words, this business is really a statement about who the owners are and who the employees are as people. Because if you look at it that way, that's really the sustainable business model, in that you're doing it because you want to have a business that you're proud about, not because you're trying to make X number of dollars in a year. Because that model doesn't stick around. But the model where you want to build a business you're proud of, it's kind of, I have a philosophy in my own business which is modeled after this, which is if you do the right things, success will come. It's just a byproduct of doing the right things. And Earth1st kind of takes those tenets to another level.
Oh, I know this one. This is good.
Well, I haven't thought about this in a long time.
Earth1st stands for...
Well, that's easy. We all know that.
Okay, hang on. What do you mean?
Efficiently operate, acknowledge our part. Okay, the E is efficiently operate.
Efficiently operate, acknowledge our part.
Reduce our impact, take time to plan.
Earth1st stands for efficiently operate, acknowledge our part, reduce our impacts.
Reduce our impacts, take time to plan.
Take time to plan.
The H is higher. Higher what? You tell me.
The H is higher performance.
T is take time to plan. H is higher environmental performance.
Oh.
And first, innovation and leadership.
And first in innovation.
And we want to be first in innovation.